started, welcome to Yoga Flow. As you remember, Yoga Flow combines both breath and movement into a flowing practice. It almost feels like a dance. So this has got lots of energy in it today for you, and I hope that it does exactly what you need to help you get ready for your day or kind of get energized, whatever you might be looking for out of today's practice. So just take your time to head back to your back if you're not already there. And as you know, all of our classes here at TIFF usually start with some sort of grounding. So just take a moment here to start to come into the space. Not only physically getting yourself on the mat, but mentally as well. If you're playing music in the background, maybe get that to a level where you can still hear your own breath. You can still move freely through any kind of gentle movements that feel good in the body. And I'm mic'd up today, so hopefully you can hear me. Today's setting intention, our opening intention, comes from Louise Hay's Power Thought card, and it's entitled, I am at the center of peace. I am at the center of peace. It is safe for me to look within. Each time I look deeper into myself, I will find incredibly beautiful treasures within me. It is safe for me to look within. So as we move through today's practice, we're going to operate with that intention, this idea of that you are at the center of peace. And if you are at peace with your breath, if you're at peace with your physical body, space that you have here on your mat today, appreciate that. Know that. So start adding some gentle movements to the body. If the legs have been long, let's go ahead and bend the knees. Bring them a little closer. Windshield wiper those knees right and left. Today's practice is going to have a little bit of twisting in it. So if twists feel good to your body today, you'll go ahead and explore those to whatever extent works for you. But of course, if a twist starts to irritate the back or it just doesn't feel like it's making sense today, you'll just want to kind of turn it back a couple dials and take it easy. Now, the next time those knees are back to center, we're going to go ahead and pause there. Bring the feet up off the ground, bring the hands to the tops of the knees, and hug them in a little closer to the body. Push them away, and then hug them in. Take that about 2 more times. It should feel a gentle stretch along the low back. Last one. And then flip the hands to the backs of the thighs and lift the feet. Point and flex the toes, roll around the ankles. And then we'll hug those knees again back into the chest. Let this rock a little bit right and a little bit left. Right knee stays hugged into the body. Go ahead and let the left leg long, point and flex the toes. And then invite that right knee over and across the body, a reclined spinal twist to open up our spinal series. Gazing towards the ceiling or towards that bent knee. Inhaling when you feel ready, bring this back to center. And then we'll let that leg go long. Go ahead and switch sides. Opposite knee moves itself in towards the chest. Pointing and flexing the toes, rolling around the ankle. And then we'll bring this over and across the body. Stretching out, giving that spine that nice opening that it needs. Good stretch across the front of the chest. All right, friends, when you feel ready, we can take our time and slowly bring this all back to center, hugging the knees in towards the chest, rocking a little bit side to side. Elevate the feet one more time up towards the ceiling. You might even slide hands up the backs of the legs, giving you just a little bit of elevation with the head and the neck up off the ground. And then we'll soften all of that. Knees come back down to chest. Rock around as much as you need. And then we can either rock forward and back, or we can roll to our right side. Coming to a seated posture, get your spine nice and tall. Hands reaching out to the sides of the body. On the inhale, bring this right hand back up over the head. Let it stretch nice and long to that left side. Inhale, breath, switch sides, opposite arm lift, heads over and across. Really taking our time to get the side body open. Big inhale brings hands back up. This time, as you exhale, bring this left hand down to the ground. Right hand is going to come and close the door over there towards that left hand, left side. Inhale, bring both arms up. Exhale, right hand goes down. Left hand comes to close the door on this side. Again, inhale up. Let's do that one more time. Exhale down. Bring the opposite arm over. Give it a close. Inhale, bring hands up. Exhale, take them over. Close the door on the other side. Beautiful. Inhale, breath, hands reach up and nice and tall. Exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Moving and taking our time, we'll go ahead and shift to hands and knees. So you can choose what direction you want to be on your mat here. Taking our time to go ahead and come in contact with the mat. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a couple cat-cows, belly dropping down to the ground on your inhale. Exhale, breath rounds the back, rounds the spine. Just take your time here. One more round. This time when you get to that angry cat spine, go ahead and lift it up towards the sky and then sit hips back onto your heels. Big full inhale through the nose. Exhale to release. Inhale, breath brings you back to that same table. Step your right foot all the way through towards your hand. Use your inhale breath to sweep the hands up nice and tall. Exhale, open for cactus. Continue to move with that breath, lifting and lowering. One more. Inhale the hands tall. Exhale, cartwheel forward towards the floor. Front toes are going to lift towards your face. Now, if you have a set of blocks handy, you're always welcome to use blocks when you take yourself through poses like this one. Going ahead to flatten that foot back to the earth. Hands come forward, let it rest on the ground. Curl the toes under on your back leg. Lift this back knee. Take your time here just to open your legs, push through that back heel. Option to drop knee back to the ground, or you can take a big step. Front foot moves to the back of the mat. First downward facing dog of your practice. Walk out that dog. And then if and when you feel ready, knees are going to drop back down to earth. Step this left foot all the way through. Same as you did before. Big inhale. Sweep these hands up. And then dance with those cactus arms again. Next time the hands are up, go ahead and let them fall down towards the earth. Walk the blocks back, flip the toes back towards your face. Nice, easy stretch up the front side, up the back side. Go ahead and flatten this foot back to the ground. Curl the toes under on that back leg. You could always use blocks here too. Those of you practicing with those at home, feel free to push through this back leg. Really look for a length and extension through that back heel. And then when you're ready, we can take a big step. Those with blocks, you can even keep your hands on the blocks if you want to, and do a downward facing dog with the palms of the hands just hanging right off the back edge of that block. And then walk that out, just as you did before. Continuing to breathe here. All right, small steps with your feet. Let's take our time to start to walk feet up towards hands. Hang in that forward fold. Blocks are always handy if you have those. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to fold. Plant the feet. Big inhale, breath. Reach the hands high to the sky. Exhale, cactus shape. Inhale, reach up strong. Exhale, hinge and fold. Half sun salutation. Halfway up when the inhale comes. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet. Big inhale. Hands reach up. Look up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach. One more round. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, following along. Exhale, cactus. Beautiful work. Hands are going to reach back up over the head, and then just let them soften down towards the heart. Separate the feet about hip distance apart. Drop the hands to the knees and take a flexion breath. So your belly comes through the middle, chin lifts. Exhale, breath. Give yourself a nice round spine. Again. Perfect. Use the next inhale breath to straighten these legs. Reach the hands up nice and tall. Right hand falls down to the side of the body. Left hand reaches up and over. Inhale, switch. Hands go back up. Exhale, lean over. Inhale, both hands up. Sweep. As you exhale, both arms go towards the right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Again, sweep left. Bring it back up. One more time now that you know what that sweep feels like. Arms come up strong. Exhale, breath, sit into chair pose. Now you might have your feet kind of substantially apart because I had you set with them apart. That's okay. Let's experience a chair with a bigger space between the feet. Sink a little deeper into your seat. Make sure that your back is nice and flat here so you're not getting a big sway or tilt with that pelvis. And then fold. Bring yourself up halfway. Take it back to the earth. Step your right foot towards the back of the mat. Let that right heel spin just enough to let us find warrior one. Hands come up. Let the shoulders relax down into the kind of sockets that they belong in. Oh, looks like somebody got kicked out. All right, hold up. Somebody's waiting. Holly. All right, let those shoulders relax. As you exhale, hinge and fold down towards the floor. Hands shoot back. Inhale, breath, bring these hands back up. So just a couple rounds just like that. You know what to do. Just take your time. Let it go. Last one. Back up nice and strong. Go ahead and hinge with this back foot, or swing rather. Just kind of pivot that back foot so that now you can open for a warrior two. You've got front knee forward, back leg is straight, arms are out in T. So if you need to really reset, that's okay. Flip the front hand, reverse it, take it through the dance. Back around and up. Let us move to side angle. Keep that chest nice and square to the side of your mat. Reverse. Beautiful. Let's go again. Side angle. All right, one more time. I do realize, though, that now that I'm wearing a mic, when I breathe, it might be really loud for you, so I'll try not to do that. Back to warrior two. All right, let's cartwheel this. Let's send it all the way down to the ground. Good work. That was big. Step this front foot to the back of the butt. Put yourself in a plank. All right, let's play with plank just for a moment. See what you can do with alignment. Wrists under shoulders. Feet are about hip distance. If you need to drop your knees, go for it. No matter if your knees are on the earth or your knees are lifted, see if you can push through the heels of your feet to extend a little longer, and then lift the top of the chest to a slight cat style back. Knees drop to ground, lower to the earth, elbows close. Cobra pose. Back to the earth. Take your time. Walk your hands one big hand step back. Hopefully you can see. My hands are even with about my breastbone. My toenails are going to stay flat on the mat, pelvis into the earth. Push for an upward facing dog. You can glue the tops of the feet to the earth and lift the knees. And then option to bring knees down, kind of control, curl toes, lift hips, or you can move that all in one kind of steady, complete motion. All right, walk that out. All right, step, hop, jump, walk, feet to hands, half lift, back to the earth. Inhale, come up, and then immediately find a chair pose, sink. Just as you did before. If you need that wide stance like we took before, where our feet were slightly set apart, go for it. If you want more challenge, bring your feet in close, glue the knees together, really reach through the fingers. Give yourself another breath. Now that's a big one. Exhale and fold. Beautiful. Half lift to elongate the spine. Fold. Here we are with left foot stepping back to the back of the mat. Spin that left heel, let it kiss. Chest comes up. Just as you did on the other side with this warrior one. Settle those shoulders. And then float. Forward and back. Up to standing. So just remember, as you start to float forward, the tendency is to want to bring your chin into your chest. But we want to try to keep as much length as we can for the spine. So keep that chin slightly away from the chest. Really pull through the crown of the head when you fall forward. Bring that up nice and tall. Settle into another warrior one. And then when you're ready, you're going to let this back heel, toe, kind of pivot as you start to settle into your version of warrior two. Fingers reaching out and away, gazing over this front hand, nice decent bend in front knee. Take yourself through the dance. So we did this a total of 3 times on the last side. So just see what we can find here. Once you've taken yourself through 3 rounds of that, just ease your way back to warrior two. Cartwheel to move hands down towards this front foot. Spinning, rotating on the toes if you need to. Front foot steps to the back of the mat, back to that plank. Wrists under shoulders. Get those feet glued. Slight lift of cat spine, keeping the belly from sagging, pushing those heels backwards, strong. Knees drop. Cobra or up dog, whichever you feel is most appropriate. If you choose up dog, make sure those hands have moved in such a way that they're placed right underneath your shoulders. Beautiful. Meet me in downward facing dog when you're ready. And then this time, instead of walking feet to hands, we're going to barrel walk these hands back to your feet. Take your time, find a forward fold, really let your head be heavy, and then find a half lift. Exhale to fold. Use that breath. Inhale, reach hands up. Exhale, hands to heart, closing the eyes. Finding a mountain pose here to remind ourselves that we are at the center of peace. Using that grounding sensation, really settle those feet down into the earth. Stepping to the middle of the mat if you're not already there. Once you hit the middle of the mat, we're going to play just a little bit today. So stand yourself on your left foot. We're going to step our right toes forward. Let them kind of point out in front of us. Check balance there. And then as you inhale, you'll bring your knee up and arms up. As you exhale, you bring your knee down and your hands down. Up and down. Now the toes can go all the way to the earth, or they can kind of hover. See what you can do with the spine. See how tall you can get. Trying your best not to round through the upper back. Give yourself about 1 or 2 more on this side. And then bring that foot back into standing. Inhale, breath, reach. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Fold. Inhale, back to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Step the left foot out in front of you this time. Point through the toes. Inhale, breath brings knees up, arms up. Exhale, breath drops it back down. Again, thinking about that tall spine, using the first couple to steady your weight, to steady your balance. So it's very kind of puppeteer-like. Our hands go up, our knee goes up, almost like they're connected. Give yourself just a couple more. We're all kind of moving at our own pace, which is fine. That's what we want to be doing. So you might have done a little more on the other leg than you've done on this one, or vice versa. It's okay. Don't over worry about that stuff. Feet come back together. This time, instead of taking a big forward fold, just step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, turn yourself sideways, doesn't matter how. You're going to just take a big wide fold. So it doesn't really matter if you're facing the camera or not. We're not going to be here very long. Just give yourself a little shake of the head. Yes. And no. And then start to turn the heels of the feet in towards one another. You might walk them in a little bit closer just so that you can comfortably sit in a goddess type shape or cactus arms. Now, as you inhale, your knees are going to straighten and your left hand is going to reach over and across your body. So you'll inhale, sit. So, or vice versa. I usually like to exhale when I add a twist. So I exhale there and I inhale when I sink. My other arm's kind of tucking behind me as I add that twist for another little element. Do 1 more to each side. So you're feeling some good work in the thighs. Nice twist through the core. Bring yourself back to cactus or back to goddess pose. Sink a little deeper. And then use the inhale to stand up, legs straightened, knees and feet walk back underneath of you. Stepping back up here to the front of the mat. Step your right foot all the way to the back. Go ahead and bring your hands up all the way to the sky. And then when you feel ready, you're going to exhale and fold down towards the earth. Right hand finds its position on the floor or on a block. Left hand opens and reaches for the sky. Now this can be modified by dropping this knee down to earth, or you can keep length in that back leg and really push through the back heel. Top hand can even move around as if we were going to stick it in our back pocket, palm facing out, shoulder opening, gaze might go upward. Perfect. Hands move back to sky, down to floor, And then step foot back, full vinyasa if you want it here. Maybe exhaling on your way down, inhaling for up dog or cobra. Exhaling as you rotate over those toes and find your downward facing dog. All right, when you're ready, right foot needs to get to the front of the mat so that we can do that on the other side. Come up first to a crescent. So when you've got that right foot forward, give yourself a big stretch up. And then hands move back to the ground just like they were. Left hand maybe comes to a block or to the floor. And then you've got that same twist. Watching this front knee, making sure it's got good alignment with that ankle. If the back knee needs to drop for a modified version, feel free. Hand might even reach around, palm facing out, opening the chest. Stay in that shape for a couple more breaths. Hands move back to sky, or at least that one hand. Hand move down to earth. Vinyasa again, if you have it in the tank. Otherwise, just step it to downward facing dog. Once you hit your down dog, let's get some movement in it. Maybe separate the feet as wide as the mat. Maybe rock the heels a little bit, or the hips rather, from side to side. And then when you feel ready, right foot's going to step forward towards your right thumb again. Drop this left hand down. We're going to bring both hands to the inside of this front foot, moving into lizard pose. So if I was to switch, so that I'm facing the camera, you might be able to see me a little better here. Hands are on the inside edge of the foot. Back. Leg is long, knee might even fold a little bit out to the side. All right, beautiful. Start to stand that lizard shape back up. Foot switches to the back of the mat. Downward facing dog again. Switching sides, opposite foot takes big steps to the front of the mat. Drop the knee. Hands move into the center. Even if you have to kind of wiggle this leg up there, no worries. Let the knee fall out to the side. Take that same lizard shape, big opening for the hip. All right, as you feel ready, start to stand that knee back up, walking underneath of you. Foot steps back, downward facing dog again. Hips are lifted nice and high. All right, let the feet move themselves back up towards your hands. Small steps, leap, hop, jump, half, lift when the body's ready. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands high to the sky. And then exhale, let them settle down into the heart. All right, I'm going to turn this way just so I can see you a little easier. But you can certainly be just where you are, facing up there towards the front of the mat. You're going to position your right foot into ground. And if you remember, when we were playing with balance here just a moment ago, we're going to do that same concept. Except for this time, we're going to give a little opportunity for a twist. So if I was to switch sides, just so that you can kind of see what I'm doing better. As I inhale, I'm going to lift the same arm as the leg that comes up. I'm going to take my opposite hand to the outer edge of this knee. That's stage one. We're just going to hold there for a breath. And then as you feel ready, this hand that's been elevated is going to come down towards your side body and then start to angle to face behind us. Gaze going to follow that hand. So it takes a lot of concentration to take that static of a pose. So hand was in, up, forward. So you can kind of take it and break it down a couple times if you want it more dynamic, or you can just focus on trying to hold that. If you want to move yourself a little closer to a wall, feel free. You can always put your foot on the wall or your hand. Give yourself one more breath there. All right, reverse everything. Feet back to earth. Take a forward fold. Half lifting, folding, and then back to standing. Hands coming down and looking for the heart. So whatever leg you played on last time, let's do the other one. I'm going to turn this way just so you can watch me again, if you need to. So when you're ready, the same hand as leg, lift. Opposite hand comes to the outer edge of that knee, and this is stage one. We kind of just hang here for a moment. Make sure we've got the balance in check. We've got our point of gaze. Other hand comes back down towards the side, and then starts to look back. Now, obviously, the most advanced version of that pose would take the gaze all the way back towards those fingers, but keeping it just off to the side works too. I've got a good flex on the foot that I've lifted up off the ground. I'm watching the shoulder of this back arm to make sure I'm not lifting way up out of the socket or doing anything funky there. It's more about bringing the chest towards that knee. And if you feel like a wobbly mess, it's all right. Put your hand on a wall, walk off your mat, shake it off, laugh at yourself. I'm the center of peace, even when my balance is messy. It's all right. Start to reverse that just as you did before. Bring it back to center, feet grab the ground. Maybe give yourself another one of those big forward folds. It might even feel nice this time to turn this into ragdoll. Right hand coming to left elbow, left hand coming to right elbow. Let yourself sway here a little bit. All right, beautiful work. Let's plant those hands down onto the earth. Start to walk the feet back towards the back of the mat. Put yourself in one more plank. Really play with strength again through arms. See if you can hold this for a couple more breaths. If the wrists have been bothering you today, you can always lower yourself to more of a forearm plank. And then when you're ready, maybe those knees drop or you take a full vinyasa. I'm going to just let my belly drop easy down to the floor and start to set myself for Sphinx pose. So I was in a forearm plank, so this is really easy for me to transition. My hand is just open, plant themselves on the ground. But ideally, Sphinx pose, elbows are in line with the shoulder, hands are straight out in front. You've got a slight kind of tilt of the back there, and I'm really putting a lot of intention into my legs and into my pelvis, letting those two kind of glue into the earth. My inhale breath lifts my chin up towards the ceiling. Exhale breath brings the chin slightly down. Weight might shift to my knees as my lower abdominals tighten and my pelvis lifts up off the ground. Inhale, let the pelvis settle, chin lifts. Exhale, move through that again. Knowing that if that's not quite enough for you today, you can always exhale, push through the tops of your feet and lift the hips. The control for the abdominals is letting that all settle back down without adding too much pressure to the low back. But just give yourself one or two more of these. You're moving at the pace of your breath. Your dance is slowing down. A little bit of abdominal focus. Last one. Perfect. When you pull this back to center, use your exhale breath this time just to look over your left shoulder. Pull it back to center. Look over your right shoulder. Obviously stopping if you get any kind of weird kink happening in your neck. Do it one more time, looking over each of your shoulders. And then we're just going to let the hands stay relatively where they are, but open your elbows a little wider. Bring your chest down. Maybe make a little pile of hands to rest the forehead on. Knees bend. You might even turn your head one side to the other, just kind of windshield wipering those knees a little bit. And then depending on flexibility level, it might feel nice to walk the knees a little closer to the body. Walk the knees a little closer to one another so that they're hip distance or less. Let your right leg go long down the mat. Keep your right hand maybe serving as a pillow as your left hand reaches around and looks for the top of your left foot. Taking a little quad stretch here. It might even feel nice to turn this into a dancer pose on your belly. Reaching your right hand straight forward. If you'd like, kick that left foot into your hand. Continue that gaze out and in front. Nice little half bow. Dancer on your belly. Let it settle. Switch feet, switch legs, switch arms. And knowing if you can't quite make connection, there's always the option to kind of grab onto your pant leg, or if you have a yoga strap at home, this is where it could go along the top of the foot there to help get that foot a little closer to you. Or you don't have to grab it at all. You can just let this hand kind of hang out in space and just bend the knee closer to your body. If you're taking that dancer shape, hand reaches out in front, kick through the top of your foot. Take your time. Now, those of you who full bow is part of your practice, maybe you want to connect with both feet and lift, letting the shoulders fall down and away from your head. Feel free to take that bigger shape if that is your practice style. If it's not, you don't have to. You can just let your hands kind of reach back towards your feet. Take a windshield wiper around a little bit, or you can just relax here on your hands. Maybe a reverse Savasana feels nice. If you've been in that full bow, go ahead and relax. Let the low back release. If you've been in reverse Savasana, let's start to wake up just a little bit. Hands coming on either side of the chest, pressing into the earth. Move yourself back to a child's pose. I'm going to separate knees nice and wide here. Let the hands reach out in front. All right, as you feel ready, we'll start to wake up from that child's shape. Bring yourself back to hands and knees. Place your right hand completely underneath your face, so right in the center of your mat. Inhale to lift this left hand up nice and high. Exhale, let the left hand sweep along the mat, point towards the wall and the opposite side there. Palm is facing up. Kind of sweep underneath. You have option to bring the crown of the head down to the ground, reach that hand out in front, out to the side, or you might choose to sit back towards your heels, reach the hand underneath, settling down. Use your next natural inhale to start to bring everything back up towards center. And then we'll switch sides. Opposite hand moves under the face. Opposite hand lifts. And then let it slide right along the mat. Palm facing up. Shoulder coming down. Head coming down. Sitting into a child's pose shape if that feels good to you. You can be up a little taller. Crown of the head might be on the earth. Nice little twist across the core. Good twisting shoulder stretch here as well. All those planks giving us a nice stretch from that. Some heart openers with your cobra and your up dogs today. Lots of inversions through your downward facing dogs and forward folds. Strengtheners holding those planks. Lots of work with balance. Taking your time, we'll bring that hand back to the middle of the mat. Reach it back forward. Just settle into your version of child's pose. Surrendering your chest and head as much as you can down through the middle, all the way into the earth. Child's pose isn't working for you today, it's feeling bothersome to your knees or to your ankles, feel free to go ahead and transition onto your back. That is where we will be next. All right, friends, as you feel ready, just take your time to transition from that child's pose onto a back reclined position. If you have a block handy and you want to use that as you start to close out today's practice, go ahead and reach for that block. Maybe the knees come into the chest, or a little rocking side to side. And if you don't have a block, it's completely fine. You can certainly do everything I'm going to show you without it. I'm going to try two little back-to-back things using my block. Walking my heels as close as I can get them to my hips. I'm going to take the block and place it in between my knees. Now, if you don't have a block at home, that's okay. You don't have to do this with a block. You can use a blanket or a pillow in between your knees or nothing. Just having an object between the legs does help give it a little more concentration with those inner thighs to make sure that they are connected to this bridge. When you're ready, your hips will lift up off the ground. You'll hold that block in place without clenching the glutes. So you want to feel like you're holding the block just tight enough to not drop it. But you don't want to be squeezing it so tight that you're kind of indenting the block, making marks, indentation into the block. Again, you can hold the pose without anything in between your knees. When you're ready, we can ease our way back to the earth. I lifted my heels first and then lowered down, but whatever version coming out of that bridge that feels good to you, you're welcome to do. Hands reach for the block. And then we're going to lift hips one last time. If you have a pillow or a block you want to slide underneath of you, a bolster, a blanket, something just to kind of catch and cushion you a little bit, feel free. Your feet might lift and elevate up towards the ceiling with that little lift underneath your tail. But I do find that when we're developing a home practice, we're setting a time aside at home to practice yoga, having your own mat, having a set of blocks, strap or a blanket, and more little details you bring to the mat, perhaps the more personalized the practice becomes. Start to listen to your body. You start to feel the suggestions it gives you, and you reach for the props necessary to take the shapes you're wanting it to do. If you don't have a block and you're just lifting your feet towards the sky, if at any point in time you want to soften those knees or bring them in a little bit more towards the chest, feel free. If you do have a block and you'd like to take a long body stretch, maybe you're letting your legs go nice and long here, one at a time, or both long, a little more stretch across the front side body through those hip flexors. Oftentimes that can feel really nice. Maybe even lifting the hands up over the head. So even if you don't have something under your back, just giving your spine an excuse to get nice and long. Softening the eyes. If you've been long and you'd like to slowly walk the feet back up forward towards your mat there, maybe even reaching hands underneath to grab a block or pillow, whatever you put underneath of you, you can pull that out at any time. And then we'll allow for a little windshield wipering again, side to side. I'm going to offer two variations of twist here as we close out today's practice. The first option is to let your left leg either go all the way long down the mat or kind of a kickstand shape. You're going to hug your right knee into your chest just as we did in our warm-up, pointing and flexing the toes or rolling around the ankle. It might even feel nice to just start to welcome this knee over. And this stretch looks exactly like the one we did to open today's practice. Opposite arm kind of reaches out to the side, gazes towards that wall behind you. So this is option one. Option two is a little bit different because we allow this leg to go long. And then as we bring it over, we get a little deeper stretch through the twist as well as this all down the side wall, all down that side of the leg through the IT band, into the hip. So for some of us, that's going to feel really nice. For others, it's either going to feel wonky or just not right. You might even need to put a block underneath your knee to kind of give that a little bit more space to lift up off the ground. Others of you are going to find, it feels good for a moment, and then you kind of wish you would bend the knee. This underneath the knee can always bend. Your hand can reach and gaze can go in the opposite direction of the knee or at the ceiling. Just like I always say, this is your yoga. So if this pose isn't resonating with you today or you need to modify it in some way, please listen to your own body. Knowing that yoga should never hurt. So if you get into a pose that causes pain, it's not what we want. There's a difference between stretch, release, and pain. As that twist starts to feel complete, take your time. The leg's been long, you might choose to bend it a little bit just to help get it a little closer to the body. Ease your way back to the center of the mat. And then we can switch sides. You should feel pretty uneven. You should feel a little, maybe even tender or just worked on one side more than the other. Feel free to start to move into that same twist, going away this time, the opposite direction. And you might watch the angle of yourself on the mat. If you've gotten kind of twisted, you might need to bring your hips back a little bit more. If you're choosing to let that leg go long, maybe you look for a block again to set it up on. Opposite arm might reach out to the side. You might gaze over that shoulder. But just as we did on the other side, if you need any kind of modifications, any kind of variations of this pose, feel free to embrace those. Softening the knees. As much as you can for the remainder of today's practice, let's close your eyes. Soften the muscles of the face. As this twist starts to feel complete, take your time, maybe bending at the knees, maybe bringing the hands back slowly to help move us back to center. And then just take any natural shapes that make sense. You might kind of hug knees to chest. You might decide you want another long body or bound angle, reclined here. Any shapes that are going to help you start to feel that you're ready to move in to your spinal savasana. Resting with the spine on the earth here, eyes are closed, back is relaxed and fierce. And we'll start to take whatever shape you'd like to use today to let everything settle back into place. Come back to awareness of the breath. Add length to the inhale. Add length to the exhale. Again, eyes are closed. Breath is fluid. Now, just as I do in every one of these Zoom or virtual classes, I will call you back with my voice when it is time to conclude our practice today. So just take your time to rest here as long as you feel comfortable, letting the body feel heavy, lays itself down on the earth. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath, allowing gentle movements to come back into the body. Maybe they start off really small, just by opening and closing the hands or wiggling around your fingers. All right. As you feel ready, the hands are going to move into your heart as you take your time to move up towards the seat. Maybe you've already rolled yourself to the side and pushed into the floor. Many of you are already up seated already. Palms together, thumbs pressing into the chest. Take a nice fluid inhale and a gentle release on your exhale. Today's final reading is entitled, Judged by Our Actions. We judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing, while others judge us by what we have already done. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Life is like a permanent job interview. We walk into the interview feeling as if we are capable of doing almost anything, if life would just give us a chance. But life insists on asking us what we've actually done. A kind person is a person who acts kindly to others. An honest person is a person who tells the truth and is fair with others. Understanding what others see in us can help us become more like the person we perceive ourselves to be. I wonder what others see when they look at me. I will take a hard look at myself and make sure my actions align with the person I believe I am. I will take a hard look at myself and make sure my actions align with the person I believe I am. I greatly appreciate you finding the center of peace that is in with all of you. Using your breath, taking your time to move and stretch alongside me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste.